Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Heart of the Author. I hope you're still with us because it's like saving the best for last, but not really. We've got a full day of amazing people and amazing things, and they're all different, and it's all incredible. So I can't wait to introduce you to our next Heartist. Dearest Adva is here, so I'm going to do an introduction and then let her take it away. So, Adva is an early childhood educator, teacher, coach, and speaker with a passion for helping teachers thrive both inside and beyond the classroom. She hosts the top rated podcast, Shaping Little Minds, where she shares insights, strategies, and real conversations that empower educators at every stage of their journey. She has a bachelor's degree in psychology and early childhood education and a master's degree in education, specializing in special education and educational leadership. Adva brings a deeply informed, holistic perspective to her work. Today, she runs a coaching and consulting business dedicated to supporting teachers in creating more freedom, fulfillment, and financial stability, whether by strengthening their classroom practice or building simple, sustainable side hustles that fit their lives. So good. Well, I'm so excited to have you here. And I will just let you take it away because I know you've got this, and I'm really excited to see what you bring to the table. And I'm even more excited for your book that's coming out, which you are absolutely welcome to read from or share a little bit about, but I will leave that up to you.
I'll be sharing, thank you for having me. I'll be sharing a little bit about it inside of the presentation. Okay, so I wrote a book about the transition between college to the classroom, and part of that is mentorship. And so I decided to talk about why new teachers actually really need mentorship in the classroom. When I was a new teacher, I didn't get the mentorship that I really needed, and that kind of just inspired me and motivated me to help other teachers, mentor other teachers, and create a safe space for them inside the classroom. You can move into, yeah. Okay, so um, when it comes to the classroom, I know that a lot of just people in general don't really understand what's happening inside and what's happening with the teachers inside the classroom unless you are in it day to day. So, um, imagine walking into a classroom every single day, but not only that, you are struggling with anxiety about the workload and the kids and the behaviors and whatever else comes up throughout the day, all of the meetings that come up throughout the day. And honestly, the anxiety can ruin your day. I struggled with it for the first time in 11 years this year. And it is I would not recommend it to anyone. And it can literally ruin everything for you the day before. So Sunday scaries is definitely a real thing. I know people get it in the corporate world, but in the teaching world, it happens more and more often nowadays. And I do believe that when you get the right support, when you get the right mentorship in the classroom, you actually end up not getting those Sunday scaries, or you learn how to navigate it so that it doesn't ruin your day and so that it doesn't carry into the rest of your week. You can go on to the next slide. Okay, so I feel like from the outside looking in, teaching looks manageable, teaching looks fun and easy. So many people are like, well, it's babysitting. I can tell you that from behind the classroom door, if you've been in the classroom before, then you know this. It can feel really overwhelming, very, very isolating, and a lot of times really heavy. Teachers are not only teaching, but they're doing a million other things at once, right? So it's not just teaching, it's managing behaviors. It's not just teaching, it's grading papers. It's not just teaching, it's taking meetings and making sure that your students are well fed and are able to function in the classroom and are getting the support that they need to get outside of the classroom if that's what they need, right? And it's connecting with parents and talking to parents. So this year, as I said earlier, I have been struggling with anxiety. I have been struggling with that sense of overwhelm. And it's not because of the teachers I work with, it's not because of the school that I work in, it's because our class is very hard. It's a very hard class. We have a group of 18 students, and we have a good few kiddos who need extra support. And there's a lot of behavior that comes out of that because they need the extra support. So that's what it's been like all year this year. And as I mentioned to Sabrina earlier this year, I had been on the verge of quitting because of how it felt behind the classroom door. And if you talk to anyone who I associate with who knows me really well, they can tell you that I was feeling this. I was coming home crying. I was really, really in a bad place when it came to my teaching. And this is why I again, believe that mentorship and support for teachers is incredibly important so that teachers like me, like any first year, second year, third year teachers aren't struggling with that in 10 years like I am. I'm struggling with it in my 11th year of teaching. But you can imagine first year teachers are struggling with it now and they don't have that support. They don't have that mentorship. Next slide. So the problem isn't that the new teachers aren't capable because we know that the teachers coming in are actually very capable and very able to do the job that they need to do. But the problem is that we expect them to figure it out by themselves. And this is not new, but it's become more of an issue with the newer generation. Um, my first year of teaching, I went into the classroom with a degree in psychology. I didn't have the degrees that I have now, and I had no idea what it meant to actually be a teacher. I'd always been um, in a classroom or in a camp setting, but not the full teacher. And I was expected to figure it out. And after that first year, and I talk about this in my book, after that first year, I was called into my boss's office because I wasn't meeting expectations. And this is the problem because if I had been able to get the mentorship that I needed in that first year, I would have been able to meet expectations. I wouldn't have had to figure it out. So I talk about this all the time. There's a gap. There's the gap between what you learn in school in teaching school versus what you're expected inside of to do inside of the classroom. So teacher prep programs, and these are things that I learned when I was going for undergrad and graduate, you learn how to lesson plan. But lesson plans aren't just the main things that you need to be able to relay that lesson to the children. Lesson plans, when you go to college, are 10 pages worth of information, right? And if you know any teachers in your life, you know that teachers don't have time to write 10-page lesson plans. No one has time to write 10-page lesson plans, even non-teachers, right? So that's what I was writing in college. Then I got to school and I was like, well, I don't have time for this. How am I supposed to do this? And so I created a template for the teachers that I was working with to help them lesson plan, but lesson plan without all the stress and all the overwhelm and having to put it into 10 pages. Right? I took the most important information from the things that we were learning in college and I created a template. Um, there's standards and classroom theory and educational philosophies, and those are all great to learn about because you need to learn the politics behind teaching and how to become and know the theories and know where your philosophy is. And I talk about this in my book. I actually help new teachers to create their own teaching philosophy. But at the end of the day, those things aren't going to help you in the classroom. Those things aren't going to prepare you for what you get inside of an actual classroom that has 25, 30 kids inside of it. So the reality, as I said, is very different. The reality is you're managing behaviors, you are completely and utterly exhausted every single day. You have parents who might be nice or might not be. And you have imposter syndrome because you're seeing teachers on Instagram posting all about their amazing classrooms, and you're like, well, what am I doing wrong, right? Um, there's the issue of feeling like you don't have enough time in the classroom to be able to get everything done. As I mentioned before, we have meetings and lesson planning and prep time that is taken away because a specialty teacher has didn't show up or isn't coming in that day, right? So everything feels like it's kind of chaotic, which it is for the most part. And then you also have decision fatigue at the end of your day, right? And I can tell you from my own personal um, experience in the classroom this year is by 1 o'clock, I my decision making is off. I cannot make any more decisions because I have run around like a chicken without a head in my classroom, making decisions, doing prep work, talking to the other teachers, writing emails, doing whatever I need to do to be able to function in my classroom. So by the end of the day, I'm done. I don't want to do it. And this is what teachers are not prepped for when they come into a classroom. And I can say that I come home every day and I am done. Like, like I am overstimulated, overwhelmed. I cannot function anymore. So it's really, really hard for teachers who don't have mentorship or support to be able to understand that, number one, it's possible to function, but it also will sometimes take a toll on you. So, as I mentioned before, we actually train teachers in theory, but we kind of shove them into reality. Like they don't really have a choice. They're like pushed into the classroom. Good luck, see you later. And this is where the gap is. This is where burnout starts. And I talk about burnout a lot inside of my book because it's something that can be navigated if mentorship was provided. So as I said here, mentorship is the bridge. Mentorship is the key to helping teachers navigate the reality that's inside of the classroom versus just the theory and the things that you're learning inside of the inside of teacher college. And that's why I wrote my book. You can go to the next slide. Um, I wrote my book to bridge that gap, right? So mentorship does three things. It provides perspective, it accelerates growth, and it protects a teacher's identity. And I'm going to go into that a little bit more on the next slide. So when you give teachers mentorship, when you provide that mentorship for teachers, they actually start to understand that they're not alone in what they're feeling, in their struggle that they're dealing with right now, that they're navigating. And they start to like really start to comprehend that, okay, this is normal. This is me, this is not me failing at my job. At and at the end of the day, teaching will have the hard seasons and the easier and the more manageable seasons, and this hard season will actually pass. But unfortunately, what's been happening recently is that mentors will actually normalize things like burnout. And I completely disagree with it. And I talk about this inside of my book as well, because the normalization of burnout in teaching is part of the problem. But again, I digress. So not only does mentorship provide perspective, it also accelerates growth. So when new teachers are provided the mentorship, the supportive, good mentorship, they actually end up growing inside of their own classrooms. They start to learn and avoid mistakes, right? They start to build that confidence rather than lose confidence when they're not supported. They have better classroom systems, and classroom systems is something that I talk about inside of a time management uh, program piece that I really think that classroom systems will provide more sustainability for teachers. But when you don't have that mentorship, you don't know how to build those classroom systems. And then also, not only that, I talk about having a clearer understanding of your priorities, urgent versus non-urgent tasks inside of the classroom. And many times new teachers struggle differentiating between urgent and non-urgent tasks. And last but not least, mentorship protects identity. So when a teacher starts the year without mentorship, what ends up happening is they internalize what's going on. And you will hear phrases from new teachers saying, I'm bad at teaching, I'm not cut out for this, everyone is doing better than I am. And it's phrases like these from teachers who many times end up leaving the classroom. They leave within 1 to 3 years. And even the really veteran teachers are now leaving the classroom. And the reason isn't because they're not good or they lack certain skills. It's because there is no mentorship, there's no support. And that shift really sticks with someone and drives them out of the field. I can tell you that I lost my sense of identity also when I started teaching. Within 7 years, I was burnt out, and I thought it was normal. I thought it was okay. And I ended up leaving because I thought that going another path within the education world was going to actually help my burnout. But in the end, I really had to look in. And if I had mentorship, I would have been able to look in and stay true to myself without being consumed by teaching. So, if we had mentorship in every school, um, it would help teachers to reframe a lot of those thoughts. I'm bad at this. I'm not cut out for this. And it could be phrases like, I'm always learning. Struggle isn't an end be all end all, but it's something that I can use to help me, right? It's data. Or I'm becoming the best teacher I can be, but I have to make mistakes along the way, otherwise I'm not learning, right? And it doesn't just improve skills, it improves confidence, it improves your belief, it improves so much when you have someone to go to and lean on and feel safe making mistakes with. So, without mentorship, there's a lot that can happen. And as I mentioned earlier, I was the teacher without mentorship, and I had no idea what mentorship really meant or what mentorship really looked like. Um, Also, at the time, coaching wasn't such a big industry, and I didn't actually know about the coaching world until very recently. But without mentorship, what ends up happening is teachers burn out. Um, a lot faster. They start to struggle with confidence in the classroom. They start to isolate themselves because they feel like nobody understands them. Nobody's going through what they are going through. They see the highlight reel on social media and they're like, well, why can't I be doing this? Why aren't I showing up like this? Right? And at the end of the day, good teachers end up leaving. Um, and we don't lose them because they can't teach, because they're not capable. We lose them because they literally feel alone and they are so burnt out, they don't know what else to do. They don't know what other there is to take at this point. And at the end of the day, there's no support. So this is actually one of the biggest reasons I wrote my book. I want teachers to not just survive, but thrive in the classroom. And I want teachers to have that mentorship that they might not be able to get within their school building, but be able to grab it inside of this book. So mentorship can look in many, many different ways. It doesn't have to look like spending a ton of money. It can look like looking up to a veteran teacher who's in your school system or who you know. It can look like having an instructional coach who works within your building be your mentor and help guide you. It can look like a principal who is consistently checks in. And not all principals are going to be like that. Some principals don't check in at all. Some principals check in every semester. It depends on your principal and it depends on what you're looking for in terms of support from your principal. Or you can, get into a structured support program, whether that's within your school if they provide it, or supplemental. That's what I was providing for a lot of my clients. It was supplemental because they weren't getting support inside of the program that they were inside of the school that they were in. Um, and books, I read books on a consistent basis, whether it's about teaching or about business to help me grow my coaching business. Um, because this book that I wrote is literally what I wish someone would have handed me 11 years ago when I started. So I wrote this book because I truly, truly, truly believe that every teacher deserves a mentor, new or veteran. It doesn't really matter. Um, Even if it comes in the form of a book, in the form of a guide. It really doesn't matter how it comes, but I want teachers to be able to return to the classroom from year to year and not feel like they need an exit strategy, which is what I've been hearing so much recently. So here's my, I guess, 2 cents in this um, within this topic is no teacher should be handed their classroom keys and said and told good luck and not given any kind of guidance. I had a client who came to me who anytime she reached out to her principal or to her admin, she would either get no answer or get a very vague response without any kind of help to help her navigate her first year in the classroom. Um, and I want people to remember that behind every classroom door is a human. I think we forget that. I see a lot of social media posts about teachers and how dare they do this to my child. And I understand it just because, you have to protect your own kid. But at the end of the day, teachers are humans, and teachers are really doing their best. And I can say that as one, but I can also say that from as someone who has many, many teacher friends who are just trying to figure it out, trying to go about their day without losing their mind, without um, feeling like they have to walk away. And no one should have to do that alone. You talked about earlier in an earlier session, we talked about community and how important it is. I really believe that creating community as teachers is also really important. You don't have to do it by yourself. You don't have to struggle and think that you're the only one because number one, you're not, if you're a teacher right now. And number two is if you create that community, it's going to be the best thing you could have asked for as a teacher. If you create that bond with someone who can mentor you, or you even hire someone to mentor you, someone who has the experience, who knows the classroom really well, this could be a wonderful way for you not to feel alone. That's really it. So thank you for having me here. Thank you for supporting me. And this has been a dream of mine for a really long time.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for being here and for sharing all of that with us. I know so many teachers, and of course, I have 3 kids. They've had a lot of teachers. You know, my eldest is about to turn 20, so he's no longer in school, but he's had a lot of teachers over the years. And I can say from that side of experience, not all teachers are created equal, and I think having this level of mentorship would be super supportive for them because you can really tell the teachers. My kids remember certain teachers that have left an imprint on them for the rest of their lives,
Yeah.
for sure. I remember my grade 4 teacher, Mrs. Walters. I remember her. She left an imprint on me. That was a long time ago. I'm not going to tell you how long ago, but it was a very long time ago. And so like we teachers are shaping the future, the next generation of humans, of
Yeah.
of men and women and humans. And it's a very important job. And I think having this level of mentorship, and even if it is a book and picking up your book and starting there, right? So
Hmm.
if you're a teacher and you're like, I don't know if this is for me, it is. Just start somewhere because it's very important work. And I think you're absolutely right on the human part. It's like you're a person, teachers are people too, on the
Yeah.
other side of that door. Like they go home to their own problems, they go home to their own lives. And I think we need to make that visible in the world. So thank you for writing this book. And I cannot wait to share it with the world. It's coming in hot. We're like, what, March, April, like
Like
two and
three
a bit
months,
months
2.5
away.
months.
Like it's insane. It's so exciting. So we'll be sharing all of the details with you of how to get your hands on this book and when it's in like pre-launch and once the cover is revealed and all of the amazing things we'll share in this group
Hmm.
first. But is there anything you want to close out with? Like, where can people find you? What do you have on offer? If somebody is like, wow, that really spoke to me and I would love to get mentorship, how does that look? How do they work with you?
Yeah, so I have two offers currently. Um, One is one-on-one coaching. So you have either 3 months or 6 months with me, basically in your back pocket, where I support you in anything that you need support in, whether that's in the classroom or as I mentioned before, I also have teachers who want to exit and want to start side hustles to create that exit. So I do that as well. Um, that's my coaching program. That gives you a lot of flexibility. So if you need classroom support, I can give you classroom support. If you want to start a side hustle and you want the classroom support, we can do that too. So that is 3 months, 6 months, whatever you prefer. And I know teachers, so I always provide extended payment plans for teachers so that they can afford the services that they need. And the other option is my newer program called Passion to Profit, which is helping teachers to start side hustles that can either be a way to earn an extra $1,000, $2,000 a month to help with income, or it can be an exit strategy for you, whichever one you prefer. And you can really find me on Instagram at Coach for Teachers. That's the easiest way to get in touch with me.
Perfect. And we'll put all of that in the group as well so everyone can find you. And then, as I had mentioned, we'll share once all of the book details are out. Thank
Yay.
you for being here today. We really appreciate you. And thank you for sharing your gifts with the world and being brave enough to go first.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's my pleasure.